What is going on, guys? Today we got a little bit of a different video. Today I am going to be grading the 2022 free agency deals, unrestricted free agency deals that were signed during that summer. Now that it's been a full year and then a couple games on top of that, how those deals look nowadays. Spoiler alert, some of them absolutely stink. Some of them have looked very good, but I think going through that, seeing what those teams did back in the summer of 2022 will be really fun. Teams that absolutely messed up or got utter steals. So without further ado, we're going to go through this list. First up is obviously Johnny Goodro. He signed a 7-year, $68.25 million deal, $9.75 per year. I'm going to go with like a B- on this. I don't think it's like an egregiously bad deal. Last year, I think he only had 74 points. That was definitely a down year by his standards, but going forward, he should be around point per game. Definitely, considering he's 30 years old now, that's not going to age the best. But for Columbus, for a team that can't really attract free agents for jack shit, getting a guy like Goodro, although it might not be a fantastic deal, was a pretty cool moment for them to finally land the big fish. So I think for Johnny Goodro, B- is about fair. Next up, Nazem Kadri. Nazem Kadri signed, I believe, a 7-year, $7 million per deal. I'm going to give that a C+. His first year, he immediately regressed back to like a 54-point guy. He put up, 87 in 71 games with the Colorado Avalanche when they won the Stanley Cup. He's a good second-line center, but he's even older than Goodro. He's either 32 or 33 now, so his regression has already started last year, and I think he's going to be a mid-50s guy this year as well, which isn't even worth $7 million now, but it's not egregiously bad. Again, you're going to see there's some horrendous ones on here. So I'm going to go with the C. C-, actually. I started at C+. I'm going all the way down to C- just because we are only in year 2 of it, and it's already meh value. Evgeny Malkin, I'm going to go, it was a 4-year, $6 million per deal. I'm going to go with an A-, I think, on this, because looking at Evgeny Malkin, last year he was point per game again. This year he's absolutely killing it. And I don't think at $6 million, that's good second liner money. That's what Nazem Kadri should probably be making right now. And Evgeny Malkin is far better. He would still be a number 1 center on a lot of teams. So I really like this Evgeny Malkin deal. Maybe the final 2 years after this, he does start regressing, but this year he should be a point per game as well. So the previous 2 years, you've gotten Malkin at $6.1 million. That is fantastic value. He's probably worth north of $8 million. So that gets an A-, maybe even an A. Claude Giroux, another great deal. 3 years, $19.5 million. Last year, similar to Evgeny Malkin, was like point per game. So I'm going to give that one honestly an A because he's as good as Malkin right now, but he's a couple years younger and it's only a 3-year deal. The Senators only have 2 more years left on that. It is $6.5 million versus 6.1. But he is going to be an elite first liner over these next 2 years. That was fantastic work by the Ottawa Senators. David Perron, going to Detroit, 2-year, $9.5 million, so $4.75 per. Gets a B. I think that's fair. Last year, he had a pretty solid season. He should be around 50 to 60 points this year as well. Very good on the power play. I think a B's fair. He's done a good job bridging that gap between the younger forwards until they're ready to go. David Perron's still a top 6 forward for sure. Vincent Trocheck, 7 years, $39.5 million. So just under, I think it's like $5.8 million per. He was very good in his first year, 63 or 64 points for the Rangers. He is starting to get up there in age. I didn't like how they gave him 7 goddamn years. So I'm going to go with a B-. I think he's going to be a solid second line center for the next couple of years, which is about worth $6 to $7 million. So they're getting a little bit of surplus value, but going forward, I don't think this is some like steal. So a B- seems fair. John Klingberg, he ended up signing like a 1-year deal in Anaheim, stunk it up, 1 year, $7 million. That gets like an F. They had to like dump him for like a 4th round pick. Andre Palot signed a 5-year, $30 million deal. This gets like a C-. I'm not ready to say a D+. Last year, he dealt with a lot of injuries, had 24 points in 49 games, I believe. So looking at Palot, he was expected to really be in that top 6 and play a pretty prominent role because he was like a mid-60s guy in Tampa, obviously. That is not translated over to New Jersey. So I got to be pretty low on this. I'm not going to lie. And he is similarly to Kadri. I think he's in his early 30s. So they still have 4 years left on this deal. That's a C-. Andrew Kopp is up next. 5 years, $28 million. So about $5.6 million, if my math is correct. Probably isn't. But he stunk last year kind of on the Red Wings, but this year is already tearing it up. I think going forward, he's going to be a solid second liner, and he is only 27 or 28 years old. So for Andrew Kopp, I think I would give this like a B? A B, maybe? I don't know. He did ball out with the Rangers on that playoff run. That was epic. But next up, Vander Kane, 4 years, $20 million. Vander Kane last year was okay. This year, he is starting to stink it up for the Edmonton Oilers. He's been one of the main reasons they've started off so slow, and he is in his early 30s. So right now, he's still making $5 million per year. It's not horrible, like a contract we might see a little bit later. It's not horrible, but I would probably go with a C minus right now. I think that's about fair. Darcy Kuemper, 5 years, $26.25 million. I still think Darcy Kuemper is an average, maybe even above average starting goalie, but he is 33 years old. They still have basically 4 years left on that contract, and the Capitals aren't that good of a team, so I don't really like this deal right now. I'll give it a C plus though, because he can still be an above average starting goalie for $5 million. That's pretty good value. Jack Campbell, 5 years, $25 million. That gets a D plus as of right now. He hasn't been looking very, even to start the year this year, he hasn't been looking as bad, but obviously his first year in Edmonton, he was one of the worst starting goalies in the entire league. This year, even if I think he can be like a below average goalie, which would be a massive step for him, but that's not even worth $5 million. Jack Campbell gets legitimately a D plus. It could be a D minus if he repeats last year. Andre Burkovski, 5 years, $27.5 million. I would give this like an A minus. Not a great start this year because obviously the Kraken just in general aren't scoring a ton of goals. But when you look at him last year, I think he had 39 points in 49 games before getting hurt. He can be a legit first liner for them. And again, at only $5.5 million, he's only 28 years old. That was a very good value contract for them. Nino Niederreiter ended up signing a 2-year, $4 million deal with the Predators. Obviously, he got traded, so it's kind of tough to do that. But I would still give that like a B+. Ryan Strome, 5 years, $25 million. That is not a good deal. He was one of the worst defensive forwards in the entire NHL last year. He's bounced back a little bit to start this year, but I still don't think that he's going to really be worth that $5 million. He was obviously fantastic when he was playing with Panarin, but Panarin can make really a mediocre player look much better. I think he had like 69 points one year in like 82 games. It was absolutely insane, but like he got paid because he played with Panarin for a while. Did not look the same in Anaheim. He'll definitely bounce back, but last year he was legitimately like a $2 million player. That gets a D+. I'll go D+. Dominic Kuballik, 2-year, $5 million. This was a fantastic deal by Stevie Y. That was great value. $2.5 million for Kuballik, who last year had 20 goals, 25 assists for 45 points. Is doing solid on the Senators right now. That legitimately gets an A-, maybe even an A. Max Domi, 1 year, $3 million. They ended up getting a second-round pick for him, so I'm going to give this. They got a second-round pick for roughly $1.5 million with retained money. So I'm going to go with a B+. And he actually tore it up for the Chicago Blackhawks when he was on the team. Riley Smith, they obviously eventually had to trade him, but he signed a 3-year, $15 million extension. I'll give it a B. Obviously, helped them win the Stanley Cup, but that contract might look bad over the next 2 years. Ilya Samsonov, 1 year, $1.8 million. This is legitimately an A, maybe even A+. He was a very good starter for them last year. Kulak, 4 years, $11 million. I'll go with a B. He's a solid bottom pair guy for only 2.75. That's pretty solid value. Mason Marchment, this is the last one we'll do. Mason Marchment, 4 years, $18 million. He has not really lived up to the billing, had a very disappointing first year. So right now, he's not on Florida anymore, which was the greatest offense of all time. Right now, I'm going to go with the C+, but I think that definitely can improve. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Should I do more of these? Should I review 2021 offseason? Should I do 2020, 2019? I think for those, it might be a better reflection because we are 2-3 years into those deals. This is more so we're like 85 games into these guys' stints with their teams. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will be seeing you in the next one.